Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is February 27, 2014. This is Texan TV News from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I am Shelby Hilton. In today's headlines, top U.S. military officer says Afghanistan's refusal to sign security agreement will make fighting more difficult. The Department of Fine Arts and Theater presents The Sound of Music. 2 Dublin natives in jail for attacking a Dublin police officer. New North Texas Christian organization turns into a Boy Scout of America alternative national uproar over Senate Bill 1062. Hong Kong speaks protest over press freedom. Texan basketball #1 and Texans #3 now. Today's top story from the Associated Press. The top U.S. military officer said Wednesday that Afghanistan's refusal to sign a security agreement with the United States may make the fight more difficult this year. Army General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, spent the day with commanders and troops in Afghanistan working to manage after effects of President Barack Obama's order to begin actively planning for a total withdrawal of the U.S. troops by the end of the year. Dempsey told the Associated Press in an interview that the possible exit of U.S. troops was making Afghan military leaders anxious and eating away at their troops' confidence. He said he spoke with some Afghan leaders after the Tuesday announcement, and they asked him to stay committed to an enduring U.S. presence, and told him they were doing all they could to get the security agreement signed. The White House insists it won't keep any American troops in Afghanistan after December without a security agreement giving the legal basis for staying in the country. While the White House did not publicly set a deadline for the finalizing of the agreement, officials said the size and scope of any U.S. mission could shrink the longer Obama waits. In campus news, Laura Rylant reports about the current play put on by the Department of Fine Arts and Theater, The Sound of Music, by Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein II, is the current play being put on by the Fine Arts and Theater students here on campus. The Sound of Music is about a young woman named Maria who wanted to be a nun since she was a young girl. Yet, when she became old enough, she discovered that it wasn't all that she thought it would be. Often in trouble and doing the wrong things, Maria is sent to the house of the retired, widowed naval captain to care for his rowdy children. Makeup artist Trinity Mitchell said Wednesday's opening night for the play went amazing. Roughly 300 people came out to the opening show. Mitchell says her favorite part of the performance was putting this cast's unique twist to the plot. To find out more about that, you will have to go to one of the viewing runnings today through Saturday at 7:30 in the auditorium of the Clyde H. Wells Fine Arts Center. Tickets are $10 for adults, $8 for senior citizens, TSU faculty and staff, and public school students, and $5 for TSU students with a student ID. The box office will open at 2 p.m., and the contact number for more information is 254-968-9634. In regional news, the Stephenville Empire-Tribune reports that a 2013 Dublin High School graduate and another Dublin man are in the Erath County Jail after resisting arrest and attacking an officer in Dublin on Tuesday. Police Chief Sean Folliger said the department received several calls around 5:30 p.m. about a reckless driver in a hit-and-run. Officers were given a vehicle description, and Officer Chris Hill made contact with the subject's vehicle. After a short chase, in which the suspect's vehicle destroyed city and state property, the vehicle pulled into a driveway. The driver then exited the vehicle, attempting to go inside the house. As Hill tried to detain the subject, the passenger in the vehicle attacked him, and the 2 subjects began fighting with the officer. Folliger said the officer called for backup when the passenger jumped on him. An off-duty officer who was home mowing his lawn when the call went out for assistance was the first to arrive on the scene. Upon arrival, the officer reportedly found Hill doubled over. A short time later, 8 sheriff's deputies, 3 officers, and Folliger were on the scene. Both subjects were caught and put into custody. Brandon Miller has been charged with driving while intoxicated, evading arrest, resisting arrest, failure to identify, and an accident involving damage to a vehicle. Tyler Story has been charged with resisting arrest, search or transportation, and interfering with public duties. And now, today's Texas, national, and international news from the Associated Press. In Texas news, Ron Orr, a North Richland Hill native, gave his son a choice. He could stick with the Boy Scouts of America and his mission to become an Eagle Scout, or he could join Trail Life USA, the new Christian-based alternative that excludes openly gay boys. This was no small decision. 4 generations of Orr men have been Eagles, including Ron and Andrew's older brother. Andrew had spent years working towards Scouting's highest ranking and was just months from reaching it. But the Boy Scouts had decided to admit gays, and Ron Orr is clear about his Christian faith and what it says about homosexuality. His son agreed. He would forego the center-old BSA for the Trail Life, which officially launched just last month. So Orr and his son left BSA and set out with other families to build a new organization based on what they believed to be Christian values. The Orrs and others in Trail Life said they are fighting for the traditional values of Christianity and of Scouting, which includes a command in the Scout Oath to be morally straight. Trail Life has established units in more than 40 states, mostly from Boy Scouts and parents who feel their old organization has lost its way. Some of the parents who took their children out of Scouting and into Trail Life admit feeling the loss of BSA's history and tradition, but they say the threat to their children's values outweighs any of that. In national news, Arizona Governor Jan Brewer slapped down the right wing of her own party, vetoing a bill pushed by social conservatives that would have allowed people with sincerely held religious beliefs to refuse to serve gays. The governor said she could not sign a bill that was not only unneeded, but would damage the state's improving business environment and divide its citizens. Senate Bill 1062 had set off a national debate over gay rights, religion, and discrimination. Brewer pushed back against GOP conservatives who forced the bill forwarding by citing examples of religious rights and infringements in other states. The bill was designed to give added protection from lawsuits to people who assert their religious beliefs in refusing service to gays and others who offend their beliefs. Opponents called an open attack on gays that invited discrimination. Arizona was pushed into the national spotlight last week after both chambers of the state legislature approved it. As the days passed, more and more groups, politicians, and average citizens weighed against Senate Bill 1062. 3 Republicans who had voted for the bill reserved course, and 2 said it was a mistake. They said in a letter to Brewer that while the intent of their vote was to create a shield for all citizens' religious liberties, the bill has been mischaracterized by its opponents as a sword for religious intolerance. Enough lawmakers have said that they are against the bill to ensure there will be no override of the governor's veto. In international news, the former editor of a Hong Kong newspaper whose abrupt dismissal in January sparked protest over press freedom in a critical condition after being attacked Wednesday by an assailant with a meat cleaver. Police said a man wearing a motorcycle helmet attacked Kevin Lau in a residential neighborhood and then fled on a motorcycle driven by another man. Lau was hospitalized and in critical condition with slashes in his back and legs. Police did not announce any motive for the attack and appealed to the public for information. Lau, 49, was named editor of the respected Ming Pao newspaper in 2012, but was replaced last month by a Malaysian journalist with no local experience. Lau was transferred to the parent company's electric publishing unit. The Hong Kong Journalists Association said it was shocked and angered by the attack, calling it a serious provocation to Hong Kong press freedom. The Hong Kong leader visited Lau at the hospital and told reporters, "We strongly condemn this savage act." The Committee to Protect Journalists called for a thorough investigation. In sports news, according to Tarleton Sports, the Texans remain number 1 in the second set of the South Central Regional Rankings, which were released by the NCAA early Wednesday afternoon. The Texans have a 20-1 record against NCAA Division II teams and are 17-1 against in-region opponents. Tarleton is 24-1 overall, heading into its regular season finale at A&M Commerce on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Texans had a pair of wins over Eastern New Mexico and number 3 West Texas A&M, which has bumped them up to number 3 in the latest South Central regional polls. The Texans, who were holding number 4 last week, jumped Colorado State Pueblo for the number 3 position after upsetting West Texas A&M Lady Buffs last Wednesday night. Of the top 10 regional teams, the Texans have a 7-2 combined record against those teams this season. The regional rankings will determine the NCAA playoff seeding. The top 8 teams from each region will advance to the tournament, with the top seed hosting the tournament. Tarleton has advanced to 4 straight NCAA tournaments and 5 in their 19-year NCAA career. The LSC Championship Tournament is scheduled for March 5th through the 8th at the Allen Event Center. Today's weather forecast is mainly sunny with a high of 57 degrees with 10 to 15 mile-per-hour winds. Tonight is expected to be in the low 40s with 14 mile-per-hour winds. Today's broadcast was produced by Laura Rylant, Carly West. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I'm Shelby Hilton. Tune in tomorrow for the latest Texan news from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.